keeps up your confidence. As we said, first game of the day, always something that, as a player as well, I mean, we can testify to that as well. Makes you a little bit nervous.
Keep your eyes on this, though. Brazil, Ukraine in the kill feed, and it's going the way of Brazil here. We said they have to find out ways to get themselves into zones. Picking up one member from the team right next to you is potentially the strongest way to work yourself into a tricky zone. And that's going to allow them to be a lot more confident and a lot more fearful on their side of the circle. Pakistan, they're controlling the high ground, they're controlling all these edges, but they now have to go for a res onto Hamir. Should be easily done because just of how powerful these positions is. But he's gonna get the frag. Actually, Samir is going down the mountain. Saudi Arabia picks up the Elim. That's terrible for Pakistan.
It really is. Down to just 3 players now. Not the perfect start that they wanted, especially in a position like this. It's the strongest position by far if it shifts north. Whoever is on top of the hill, and whoever can hold it, and it's pretty easy to hold in third person. Whoever able to hold that is just guaranteed points, and we've seen this time and time again. There's only so many innings. Even the shifts down west, you have so much kill potential, so many eliminations that will just float right into your open arms, and I think that's gonna hurt Pakistan. And no one's even contesting it at the moment either. No one's really playing for it, just based off of, I think, the fact that you would expect someone to be up there.
I have no idea still how they lost a member there. It's a long-range knock. It's good shots from Spark, but how were they unable to get the res onto Shamir? He was on such a high mountain, like you said, right? The high ground gives you a ton of visibility, but it also means as soon as you dip down a little bit, you're completely safe. But it looked in the kill feed like he fell down from the mountain. That's absolutely horrendous for the Pakistani squad. And look at Miramar picking up another 2 just there. They're really starting the day off where they left it. They've been flashy yesterday. We watched the highlight reel just then. Lewis James in the billboard building in San Martin doing absolute work. They had multiple double-digit frag games for themselves. Now in a tricky position. You can already see teams like Jordan creeping on up, looking on over. But so far, fragging out and holding it cleanly.
Miramar made it up to 5 frags now, 5 eliminations to start things off. It's, as I said, it's everything they wanted and more to start off this game. Now they need to stay alive. They're not on an edge. They used to be in Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 in almost all of the games yesterday. This time around, they've got that locked down. Oh my lord. Wow. That is a shift. I mean, that's going to shake up around massively. Brazil suddenly in massive favor. Ukraine is going to have to read it on through. They should know this bridge is still open. But for everyone else on the northern side who's just making their way in, this is disastrous. I think everyone is expecting this to go north.
I love this as well because this actually gives us a chance to show how good the setup from Ukraine is, right? You can say, well, they're just kind of passive on that western edge. They're not really doing anything in Phase 1 here, but this is what the position gives them. It gives them a good route into the south when it does happen, and it will allow them to play a strong game from here. Despite being set up for the northern circle, they're also set up for the south. That's not easy to do. That's not something a whole lot of teams can say about their position, and that's exactly why they approached the game like this. And yeah, things you love to see, things that go to show why they have by far the most placement points in the lobby right now.
So far, no additional points being secured except that one. They've just lost a player as well. That must have just happened recently, at least I didn't catch it. So Ukraine suddenly down to 3. Brazil has just lost a player as well. That's going to sting even more so. They have him rest back up, apparently. So maybe that was just a long-range knock and he's not really in danger. He's got that first hit going through as well. So okay, Brazil, never mind me, still in a good spot, still 4 players up. And I think that was a grim reminder of them not throwing this round away. We said it as well. The desk said it as well. Matura and DK especially, they were talking about it, right? That Brazil has been perfect in closing out these games that they need to, but the rest of it has been kind of shaky just a tiny bit. So this is one more chance for them to prove that they are indeed made to finish off the games that they should. And yeah, everything's going for them right now.
Good zone for them. Turkey making their way across the bridge, spotting France in the distance. Maybe a bit of damage connected, but no knock just yet. And Scarface doesn't have a whole lot of meds here. He's going to first aid up once, and then he's got to get his way into zone nice and fast, because they are very late to this circle, and whenever it locks, more and more damage is going to come in. Mongolia still under pressure from Saudi Arabia, I believe, from the other side. They're having a hard rotation into this. They might get one of these reses, but it's not long-lived, I can tell you that much. Balia is out of this. Endless might get resed, but Suki, I'm not sure if he's trying to go for the res, or maybe he's just happy to get the loot at this point. Get himself some meds, maybe some util, to try and make this one work, as we see tons of teams struggling here. This is Sanhok when the circle doesn't come your way. You're running through forests, getting picked apart, or you're going into a mad send with a vehicle without really knowing where you're going to end up. It's cruel, it's rough, and you might just find yourself in a bit of a trap here, like France. Oh, I'm not fancying their chances right now, Alex.
Good takes coming out from Catch. There's no knock though just yet. And you said you don't fancy their chances. Oh, it does look grim. That does not. Okay, it's just the observer. You know, take it seeing that. No worries. No worries. I was worried for a rehost, but no, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in action. Egypt on the other side, southwestern side, will have a relatively easy entry. We've seen these guys finish off the last day massively. Good start, good comeback as well. That was the biggest jump that we've seen any team make yesterday on the overall leaderboard. I think it was something like 14th, 13th, maybe even below that, up towards the 8th, 9th position, so middle of the pack. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of performance you need coming off of the African Esports Championship.
And that's what goes to show as well, right? Everybody's still in this. Yes, we've played a full day yesterday, but everybody, even at the bottom of the scoreboard, even if you're Mongolia and things have been going terribly for you, everybody can still make their way into this and make their way into the top 8 at least. Egypt, they showed themselves yesterday as well. They realized, hey, we're good at this. We can play this. Yeah. I talked to their coach and their sub a little bit, and they said, I just told the boys, just play your hearts out and just no holding back, no doubting. We're just going the hell in. We've got every elim we can, and look how it panned out. So, crazy game from them yesterday.
It was you, essentially you who did it.
Yeah, giving themselves a little bit of... No. He was telling me what he told the boys. I didn't have a say in that.
No mind. I was about to say, you got into that coaching role. I was
no.
Yeah, wouldn't have surprised me either, to be honest.
But what I'm saying is they showed themselves that they can do it. They didn't show us, or the fans or the viewers only. They showed themselves that they can do it. And that's going to be big coming into games like this, where now they will have to hold their edge. It's not going to be easy. They'll have a few teams coming their way if you're just looking at the map right here. They will have to hold their ground. But if they manage to do so, they're looking pretty good in this.
Brazil set in a really good spot. Egypt is now making their way into the southwestern side again. This time around into the safe zone, though. They will have a pretty decent entry. Well, France is fighting all around that southern side. Good shots. Turkey is barely fighting inside the safe zone.
Look at his angle.
Inside the blue. This is massive. One more knock comes through and France is eliminated just like that. More frags being picked up by Turkey, but they have a lost player in the process too. So it's not been without casualties for them.
Big play from Solkai though. Going into the blue there, opening up the angle. He basically single-handedly dismantles France. Now 2 more teams knocking on the door. Bulgaria wanted the third party this. They've been found by Indonesia. The flying shotgun comes out. Sicario wins it for now, but there's more coming his way. And it's going to be Indonesia that wants to close this edge. Kausa, though, what can you really do at this point? He's driving circles. He's trying to figure out where to go, but Turkey's got him in his sights. And it is Turkey who seem to be coming out strongest out of this situation. Remember, they didn't have a whole lot of meds going into this, but now they have a few body salute. They have some chance to pick up gear and make their way on through. It's not going to be an easy way, Alex, but at least they've picked up 7 of them already.
Exactly. I mean, it's been the storyline for Turkey throughout the entirety of this tournament. And not only this tournament, but throughout the ISF qualifiers and maybe even last year as well, right? They get a bunch of frags. They're great individuals, but it seems like if they don't get the massive big rounds where they, essentially frag from start to finish and win the round as well, then they're just falling.
SofaScore.
Like it's a 2v4, 2v3 now with obviously Adrian knocked. Still very possible for Brazil. That Molotov's going to slow things down. Lauren isn't going to be able to get the flush, meaning Brazil might just stay alive as 4. They need this.
They need this. They had a really good setup for this. They had a really good setup against the push with Rafa on the hill doing tons of damage. But then they left Adrian a little bit too alone in the building. This could be a good nade. It bounces just straight on past. Seven's going to get a better one in. It's beautiful. It takes down Romania to 1 player, just Christian below the bridge. The single bridge troll left for the squad. What can he really do out of this? He should never be able to make the cross to the compound anymore. He's hoping to pick up someone now, pick up a singular frag on a team rotating through without being aware. But Brazil with a full reset here is important. We've praised their team play. We've praised, I've said it myself, how rarely they will lose a solo or a player to a solo. It almost happened right there. But they got away with a scare. They got to reset, and they will play this game as 4.
Really disciplined again. Get the Molotov out. Get everyone up and ready. No, you know, someone was watching the left-hand door.
Yeah.
The other one was nading inside. There was absolutely no chance for him to do anything in that round. No one was overcommitting. No one was taking 1v1. So good on Brazil. They're showing us that that discipline is to be rewarded. And yes, they've rewarded themselves twice already in this tournament. Looking to make it a 3rd time. It's definitely not unlikely in this round. Romania, in the meanwhile, being eliminated. Mongolia, the death is as well. They need to change things up. It's a strong region. And at the moment, the representation is just not good enough. Especially last year, they had such a strong year as a country itself. They're definitely having a bad tournament, but they're not having a great tournament either just yet. Still time for improvement. 5 frags. And maybe a placement point that is about to come is a good trajectory, I'd say. You know, to make more things happen today. Oh no.
Oh no.
We've all been there. We've all been there, my man. Hidden. You are excused. That, you know, sometimes that just happens. There's no defense against this. Ragnarok is going to pick him up with DBS.
Love that he's trying to dodge the nade instantly as well, but he does take the brunt of the damage here. Second one might do the trick, and it does. Clean from now off, punishing instantly. What Ragnarok's trying to pull off here. I don't think he got the frag though. I think that was stolen away. I think that was flushed out by Godspeed. Myanmar chalks that one up. They say 1-2, thank you. And there's the Egypt we talk so much about now in a crunch, eliminated Pakistan, but they've got Brazil. The hungry dragon looking over their shoulders, breathing down their necks. Ukraine holding you on the one side, Brazil on the other. This is going to be so hard for Egypt, no matter what they do here, Felix. This Sanhok feels incredibly hard for them to overcome.
5 frags. Good position. But now, for the very first time, them and the rest of the teams that, you know, were able to kind of just ride out their position up until this point will have to fight. There's no more coexisting up on that southern side. With that circle, that has so much water in there, it's gonna be absolutely brutal for anyone. I don't see a way where Brazil, Ukraine, Jordan, any of these teams can stay alive and coexist. Like, I think there's gonna be one team maximum on that southern side, outside the team in the compound towards the eastern side of things. So crazy, and there goes. Sloney is gonna be able to maybe pick up some frags. Yeah. That nade is gonna get the first one. Kronai goes down. That's a good entry.
It's a good entry. There's a second one almost on Arthur. Again, peeks out with the nade in hand. He's trying to get something, trying to find an opening, but it's not meant to be. A bit of damage into Havlik will take him down, even if it's the blue zone. But Ukraine is getting the better half of it. Havlik not going to be able to stay alive in this though, and he's not going to be getting res. That's a phase 5 blue on their backs. Ukraine, they would have loved to stay clear in this, clean this up, but they haven't been able to, and now Brazil is looking on the doorstep. That's a big one for Tulika. He might almost get the second. It's a good spray. It buys them time, but I say it buys.
You can see the Brazil player is already being picked up. He's been transported into the car. And they've already made their way across into the next safe zone. So it's going to be really unlikely he's going to get that flush. But I think he's going for it. And I think he knows that is his best chance. Maybe outside of grabbing the last player from Jordan. But I'm not sure if they have the information that he's somewhere around that area. Looks like he just wants to barely get past any of these players towards the deep southern side. Maybe make it inside somehow. Myanmar's still in trouble as well. It looks like they have a pretty good position, but the sightlines are really tough over there. So everyone almost can see everyone.
Yeah.
It's a pretty weird thing right now, this circle. And I haven't really seen this circle either, especially with this shift.
Tulika is trying to buy time, trying to hold out. Nice, it's been spotted. The damage is coming on in. The game's up now. Myanmar is controlling the northern side here, Felix. And they're not letting anyone slip away, but just this attention going towards the solo might have just bought Tulika enough time to at least make it into the circle. If he has, the next shift is going to be even harder. Brazil is going to have him on their mind as well, but every single placement point he can get reduces the amount that Brazil can really catch up in this game. Kyrgyzstan as well, don't forget about them. They're looking very green in that live leaderboard right now. They're in a pretty position here, holding on out, holding as 4. They're a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Naptura on the desk said it as well. She was expecting Kyrgyzstan to have a great day, continue that consistency that they've shown. They've been able to close out the big games, as we said as well.
She also said France would win this.
Yeah, to be fair, one of which is more likely than the other one, but anyways. Looks like Brazil is opting to go for that deep breach. The cars haven't really stopped at a perfect position.
Smokes are not bad.
They don't look too shabby, actually, now that I think of it. But now the nades are raining in. Now Kyrgyzstan is closing the trap. And they've so desperately been waiting for. He is in the Molotov, but he's going to get that either way. Romulo goes down, and Nord is able to get another down, and potentially another knock. On the second player too. Effect is going to be able to take him down. That's Brazil, done and dusted. Still a good game for them, but not the win that they were hoping for.
And just like that, Kyrgyzstan exploded at the right time, right? They know that Brazil will have to move ahead of them. They know that Brazil doesn't have a good move here, and Brazil tries their very, very best to build a fortress, to try and smoke things out, survive for a bit, but it wasn't really possible. 7 elims for them is still a massive game, but there's Myanmar now, looking to continue the rampage. They know about this solo, they know about Nawaf. They've stolen a kill from away from him earlier. Look at the damage coming in. They're so clean right now. They're so good in this game. And if they find knocks towards Kyrgyzstan here, it might all be doable, but it's Tulika from the backlines that helps them out.
Yes, Tulika might just be the deciding factor
No
in
way.
this end fight. He's taking down Zarek. He's looking for another one now. He finally gets taken down by the blue zone, but he's
so
done
big.
so much damage. And he might have just given the round to Myanmar. Maybe Effect is going to get revived, but after that, it might just be a 2v4. No chance in this round.
Insane.
As Kyrgyzstan goes down, and Myanmar, finally, we've said it, they have been struggling to close out games. Will finish off the very first round on Sanhok.
What a game, and what a decider from Tulika as well. Perfectly backstabbing, doesn't give the kill to Kyrgyzstan, but costs them another member. Makes it so much harder for them to have a
Direct
chance
competition
in
as
it.
well.
Exactly, that's the team they want to beat.
Yeah.
That's one of the teams they want to knock out, and he does it perfectly. He doesn't die to Brazil earlier, doesn't feed that kill on over, and he does backstab Kyrgyzstan, but it is, in the end, my man, it is, in the end, a fantastic game from Myanmar. Complete domination on that northern side, never to be doubted, never made a misstep. I can't remember a single one of them being knocked. There might have been at some point, but they were never in danger, never in doubt, and they closed it out beautifully.
So at one point, there was a knock from across, I think, from Brazil on towards these players, and they had to get a smoke lined up. But it was,
At the warehouse.
you know, it wasn't real danger.
Yeah.
It wasn't actual real danger. But then again, the circles were also kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think they expected to win this game in the midst of it.
No.
Like that it shifted back north is such a massive, massive thing for Myanmar right there. But man, it comes at a any better point in the tournament right now. This brings them back. It's 19 points too. They had 9, maybe even more than that eliminations, right? So
They had double digit. They had
double-digit
11.
eliminations, so it's
I
going
think
to be
they
a
had
big
at least
game.
11, yeah.
It's gonna
11
shake things up.
before the game ended, so something crazy for them. I've said it before, double-digit elims is nothing new, but winning the game is.
Yeah.
Beautiful game from them. I just want to see more of it. I want to see them. I think they might be a little bit in the same boat as Brazil, where they're not the best at traversing crazy circles.
Yep.
But if we're being fair here, Brazil, once again, on Sanhok, has played a really solid game. You can't fault them at all. In the end there, their fight against Kyrgyzstan doesn't look convincing, but there's no way to win that, honestly.
No.
There's just, the circle is not giving them a chance. Do you send it across? Do you try to get over the bridge into a full Myanmar setup waiting for you? Do you crash Kyrgyzstan, who's spent the whole game waiting for you? Not a whole lot to be done there. So even though they go out without really a bang, still a super solid game from them.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It's going to be interesting to see if they can keep this up. I mean, a talking point of consistency is something that we've gone over a million times as well. Same goes with Kyrgyzstan, by the way, we had a good game. Same goes with Ukraine, we had a semi-good game as well.
Yeah.
Definitely close to double digits too.
Yeah.
So almost all the favorites as well. I mean, your prediction rang true as much as it could. Right, all the favorites, all the top teams on the leaderboard had a good game again.
Yeah.
Right, and that's something that cannot be underestimated too, because
Even Turkey.
it's going to make it really tough for anyone in the midst of the pack to really catch up. Because it's not going to need 2 great games. Maybe it's going to need like 3 or 4 potentially.
Even Turkey, right? They find themselves so far away from the zone. They come in, barely any meds left, and they figure out a way not to only win the first fight, but to also take more kills on the second fight and get themselves ready. So I think 7 elims is what they walk away with. That's a solid game. When you don't get the zone on Sanhok, 7 is something you're absolutely happy with. So the favorites are ringing through. But I said this yesterday, I'm really happy that we have teams like Myanmar who can suddenly come out and play an absolutely massive game.
Yep.
Now they come out and they do what they've never done before, which is win one, and actually clean it up in the end. Now they're proving themselves, just like Egypt did in the last game yesterday. We can do this. We're an actual contender for this. And I love that, because that keeps it spicy. We can talk about Ukraine, Brazil all day, Kyrgyzstan, Turkey, but we're happy to have Myanmar in the conversation, and they have forced their way into it.
Yeah, another contender potentially. We'll see how today goes. They need the placement points. It's ultimately what it comes down to for them. The fragging power has come through. I have to wait and see how it works out with a couple of tougher zones.
Yeah. Enough from us, though. We have the hero from the billboard yesterday. We just watched his highlights, and now we're going to see him on stage with an interview. It's Miramar. It is Lewis, Myanmar.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Myanmar, winning this one. So the first question would be, how do you feel?
ဒီပြောပါရောဘာလို့ဆိုတော့ဒီဝမ်းမှာကျွန်တော်အမားကြီးလည်းများခဲ့တယ်တခြားအသင်းတွေကိုလည်းလေ့လာနေရတယ်တခြားမစော့ခဲ့ရဘူးပေါ့ဒါပေမဲ့အခုလို day 2မှာပထမပွဲမှာနေချစ်ကန်ရအောင်တော်တော်လေးပျော်ပါတယ်
Yesterday we could not do much because we were studying the other teams and also we had so much of mistakes, but the first game in today we got a chicken. We are very happy about that.
Amazing, I love that. Now, pretty much one of the things we really noticed, you won, but not only that, all your team members are alive. They're like making it happen. How do you manage to do that?
ဘယ်လိုလဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ကတယောက်ချင်းစီကိုမှားထားတာပေါ့အကုန်လုံးဘယ်လိုမလဲကိုမတရားအောင်ပဲဆော့ပေါ့ကိုမတရားဆော့ရင်အကုန်အဆင်ပြေသွား
So our technique was we each other promised not to die.
It's very simple, just don't die on me. One last thing, if you don't mind, teach me a word, a cool word in your language.
Cool word.
Yeah, I want to learn a cool word.
မိုက်တယ်
My day. It's like
My day. Cool. Well, guys, let's go with our My Day talents. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Bara, and again, congratulations to Myanmar getting themselves a chicken dinner in our first game of day 2. They started off, I believe, in like 6th place, 35 points. Great position to end on day 1 and a great way to start day 2. Very close with your prediction though, DK. Kyrgyzstan managed to get themselves 2nd place, unlike our other analysts, but we're not going to talk about. But walk me through Myanmar. How were they able to get that chicken dinner? What went their way?
Well, apparently numbers is a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. If you're able to keep all your players alive till the very end, then it results in a chicken.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, aside from that, Myanmar, they definitely played. I just had to embrace things, right? But Myanmar, I think that they definitely played quite a strategic position, moving their way through Sanhok, right? It wasn't just a situation of like getting aggressive, moving up. We did see quite a bit of that strategic positioning coming in. I mean, especially just looking at how they utilized the last zone, moving through, coming in on the western side, playing a little bit of that elevation, using it to their advantage. You can see that what they were saying, right? Doing their homework, just trying to kind of figure out how the opposing teams were playing based on yesterday's matches. I think it really went quite some distance for them, and what showcased right here in match number 1.
Yeah, match number 1 was honestly it was quite a way for them to start. And looking at their damage, looking at the eliminations that they managed to get themselves as well. I think 13 eliminations by the end of it. I'm hoping my math is right on that one. If not, oh well. But Natsura, I want to come to you when it comes to France. Thank you for double checking my math.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What happened with France in that first game?
Okay. South side, zone of death. Honestly, that was rough. It is a
Like
very
they were near
unfortunate.
the docks. That's where
They
around
were
that
down
area.
there. They came up through the south side of the late zone, and about 6 other teams were there. And they didn't have cars. They couldn't move. They were in the valley. And then Turkey just completely outplayed them. They used their players to actually go and completely surround them. So it was very well played by Turkey, right? But France, I do feel bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, look, all I'm going to say is I told
Sorry.
you picking France was the caster curse. That's,
I might have to never talk about them again.
Yeah,
Not
you
in
know,
that
you
way,
know what?
but
Max will hear of this.
Max will hear of this, and honestly, he'll agree with me. He'll be on my side, I think. We gotta stick together, you know? The caster cursors.
You know what the sad thing is? I also caster curse in my region too, like to ridiculous levels. But
Yeah.
let's focus on the MVP of the match, West from Myanmar. 6 eliminations with 837 damage, making it to the very last moment of the game with his full squad, and you love to see that.
Yeah.
You love to see that. But honestly, I want to ask about Egypt as well. Like they had a little bit of a good start, I want to say, but then when it came to them trying to get into the zone in the very late stages, do you think it was a little bit of a delayed move for them? Do you think they were a little bit late on their rotation I think it was the 4th zone as well when they ran into Ukraine?
It's very hard to say because this zone, I think we saw a very similar zone yesterday
it
as
was
well,
the same
right?
zone, yeah.
The same zone. Very, very difficult. And I think on Sanhok, when it's so much smaller and you get that kind of zone with so much water, so much beach, so much open ground on it, even if they did hesitate, it's for real good reason because you kind of know where teams will be, but there's always going to be that anomaly that messes everything up. And when you have such a difficult zone, it's like, okay, we really got to take time and actually think about this a little bit. So if they did hesitate, it might have been too long, but it's because they were trying to find the best move. So I can't really fault Egypt for that one in this example.
Well, I definitely want to see a little bit more of Egypt. You know, I think they have the potential to get themselves at least in the top 5. I think that would be their goal. It's going to be a little bit difficult for them to fight for first place, but Myanmar with those 13 elims, 2 away from equaling the record that Egypt set up yesterday in our game 6. But how does this impact the overall leaderboard? We know that Ukraine was in the lead. We know that Myanmar was a decent bit behind them, but I think Ukraine obviously still has to be in the lead. Yeah, 90 points. I think maybe next game they'll be able to crack the triple digits, get themselves 100 points plus. And this is where I start to feel like Ukraine will get away with it a little bit.
If they continue to play like they did yesterday, moving into today and
We can just
continuously
cancel day
improving,
3.
Basically.
you know, it might be, but we got to make it all the way through to the very, very end, right? You got to ride the storm all the way to match number 18, which is still some way away. But I'm looking at other teams a little bit further down, right? Jordan, they're getting closer. Right, we didn't see necessarily the best play from them, but that made it much further up in this first game here today, right?
That they did.
Again, we did see a similar situation where they find themselves moving into those last few zones with 1 or 2 players left. A little bit of the potential deja vu coming through on that. But we do see those improvements, right? Teams looking to play a lot more consistently, the points starting to rank up. And what we're seeing now also is teams that focused a lot on eliminations yesterday starting to bring in those placement points.
Yeah.
Right, because the teams that are already well established on the left-hand side, we did see quite a few eliminations, but they had a lot of placement points to accompany that.
Yeah.
And now that we bring that balance in, I think we're going to be looking quite a bit of a change and a bit of a shift with regards to the standings. At least, I'd say the lower section of the left side of
Yeah.
the leaderboard.
So when it comes to the leaderboard, you're talking about like 90 for first place, 75 for 2 teams in second place. Like that, there's a bit of a gap, and then it drops down to around 58, 59. So that's what. So you have a gap between like second, third, and first place, and then 4th and 5th. So like it feels like we have a couple of barriers that the teams have to break through if they want to fight for a top spot in the top 5 or even try to get themselves in top 1. But again, Ukraine is just they're too strong. They must be nerfed, but it's just this is what happens. This is what comes with experience. I feel like Neptura.
He's trying his caster curse on our region.
He's
now.
trying.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's come.
See,
He's
I don't
come
need-
in here in English and gone. All right, Ukraine. Need to nerf them, man.
Okay,
they
okay,
need
you
to
know,
go.
okay, you know what? Fine, I'm gonna hit you with another one. Predictions for game 2.
All right, fine. I'm not scared. I'm
What
not
is it?
scared.
France? You wanna
No,
do that to them again?
It's not France.
Okay.
I
Don't
think it's Ukraine.
Oh wow. Okay. So
I'm
you're-
gonna cast a
wow,
curse
she wants
on
to
them.
hurt my team. Okay, fine. DK, what do you got?
I only give out blessings, so
You
I'll
do.
give one to Saudi Arabia.
I like
Nice.
that. I like that. You know what? And I want to see if they get themselves a chicken dinner. The home crowd will be very, very pleased with that one. I'm picking France because I want to see what they
Hey!
can do. Anyways,
Okay.
casters, game number 2. Erangel waits for us. So, Kovo, Alex, take it away, boys.
Erangel is waiting for us. It's not Miramar. It might be Myanmar though, who
Yeah.
surprised us today. It might be them closing the gap even further. They've done a lot of work on that leaderboard. We just saw the analyst desk talk to you guys through it. I'm excited. I hope we can see more teams just entering the breach and making it special for us. I think 15 points gap right now at the top, but it gets much, much closer once you move away from Ukraine, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gets much, much closer, and also it gets much, much more competitive now, because we're getting to a point in time where you maybe have to take a look at who's really around you inside of these rounds as well, who you want to kind of focus on, because some of these teams are, as we say, Ukraine, for example, Turkey as well, they're kind of running away with it to some small degree. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a beautiful play. So let's head on right into match number 2 of day number 2 of the ISF World Esports Championship. Brought to you live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to be exact. And they said their predictions.
Yeah.
We haven't been too far off yet.
Yeah.
So give me your prediction again.
Brazil.
Brazil.
They get to loot South George here. No problem for them on the horizon. The plane is problematic for a lot of other teams. This could be the zone they want. This could be the zone they need. Kyrgyzstan in Primorsk as well. Beautiful loot spot. Completely unbiased opinion from me. Could set themselves up as well very nicely. They've done that before. Remember, they won a game ending very close to that loot spot earlier yesterday. So our favorites in good positions here. And depending on where the first zone sends us, we'll know a whole lot more. But I'll say it again. I'm keeping my eyes on Miramar, right? They've gone through some hot drops that might not have been super necessary yesterday. They could just shake those off today, especially with how convincing they've won them in the past. And then maybe they can really, really shine. But I'm looking at that south of Pochinki area, Felix, and I'm getting a little concerned.
The south of Pochinki area does seem kind of full, especially with that circle now. I'm getting even more concerned because you could have the option now. This is interesting. You could have the option now. If you find a car and you get all the own mates in there, you might just cross the bridge right away. But that is only if you don't expect Chile there or Myanmar on the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird thing. A lot of decisions now to be made relatively on relatively short notice. But first of all, let's take a look at some of these teams on the island itself, and that's Jordan finding themselves in kind of a weird spot as well. I'm assuming they're gonna take this as kind of a pit stop to maybe take down one of the Myanmar players and then go further. Because otherwise, I have no idea why they don't just go into military base. But we have another hot drop as well. It's down to Severny. I'm on the completely other side. This might even make sense for them because that rotation is a long way home.
3 teams in here. It's not 2, it's 3. It's not just Mongolia and France. Bulgaria is in this as well. And look at the map already. It's already looking nice for them. First 2 frags go towards Mongolia. Bulgaria getting themselves one as well. But they've got all the angles on this. They've got all the opportunities. Wouldn't be surprised to see them take the church as well. But hold that thought. On the other side of the map, Romania has just been absolutely swept aside by Jordan as well.
Exactly.
What's going on?
So many early fights now. Jordan with the 4 frags now. This is incredible, especially considering they knew it was going to be a military base. You have everything you need for a big round. You risk it like that. That's you putting yourself unnecessarily in danger. But if it works out, who am I to judge? I mean, Jordan. That is aggressiveness. That is confidence, especially, that we haven't seen up until this point. I would have definitely taken a different route, but if it works out, hey, once again, who am I to judge? 4 points being secured, and you have the military base all for yourself. That's crazy.
I'm just surprised that it's always there's already. We can't get Miramar out of my head, can I? That is always Erangel that pops off like this. Remember the absolute madness we've had in the Cube compound further south yesterday with 3-4 teams engaging before Phase 1 even popped. It was absolutely mental. Now we're seeing 3 teams in Severny. And like I said, Bulgaria is in really good spots for this fight. We just haven't seen them been all that convincing. That being said, this is the teams that kind of really need a silver lining. This is the teams that really need a kicker to start them off. And like you said earlier, 100% right. If you're in Severny and the circle's this far south, you're happy to get yourself 3-4 frags as a bit of an insurance policy that, well, at least this game can't be all for nothing.
Hope has been knocked down in the distance. Should be getting back up. It's a dangerous fight as well. With how far the blue zone, with how far the first zone is, the blue zone is going to come really, really fast, right? It's going to touch you way earlier than it would normally. That's a bit of a problem as well, to be honest. That's a bit of a problem as well for everyone fighting in here. But maybe they've still got the hope to get this one done cleanly. In the midst of all of this is the single French player, by the way. Be reminded, he might just jump into action as soon as that fight kicks off, and it's gotta kick off sometime soon. I'd say loot advantage still on the side of Bulgaria. Just because Notorious has a lot of space there on the other side. But everyone else kind of stuck with what they have right now. All of the buildings have been looted. You don't really get much more than what you have in your inventory right now.
Where's the solution, though? Where does this end? Bulgaria is not looking to push. Mongolia is trying. They've just got a player back on their feet. They've just realized making moves is quite tricky with all the angles being collected. Smoke launcher comes out. But what is he trying to smoke off? Where is he trying to go? Myanmar on the other side are camping the bridge, though. And that's Turkey instantly cutting their losses, realizing, hey, this might not be the way for us to cross. This is the frustration of the military zones. And yes, we've had one yesterday, but yesterday it was a 50-50 and nobody really had to commit for the milli base just yet. Today, different story. Today, you know, no matter what happens, we have to get down there. Losing a player on the bridge instantly sends them into a different attempt.
Talking about different attempts. Turkey, still not entirely sure how they want to approach this circle, I feel like. So far, they're kind of stuck on that shark fin compound. And they have not made their way across. Which is surprising too, because there should be way less teams than normally on a military island all around these bridges, all around these rotation paths. Because so many teams are fighting outside of this. This is, once again, it's kind of a crazy story that we've seen. Coming in from this circle. Either way. I'll have to take a look and see how Bulgaria does this. This is interesting. Now they rotate out of this. They dodge it. I wouldn't have expected that.
I love it. I mean, cut your losses. Sunken cost fallacy, right? Don't commit for something that's lost. Don't commit for something that's already over. They will try and get a little bit more loot now. They will try and figure out a way, get themselves another vehicle. There they are. Ooh, spike strip. They could literally put that on the road if they wanted to be a little tricky with it. There's not a lot of situations where that's useful, but this is one of them.
It doesn't really give you anything except like fuck up the enemy's enemy's rotation, but that would be the most hilarious thing ever, right? I mean, we've seen this time and time again. I'm using that word because that's legitimately how these players have told us before the game. That's what they want to do. If they realize they're in a situation like this, do it, right? That's how you advance in a top-heavy lobby like this. That's the only reason. These are the small I don't want to say mistakes. These are the small differences sometimes.
Yeah.
That gives you that top 1, top 3, maybe even top 4 difference in a tournament like this, where you know that everyone else is on the top of their game anyways, and you get consistent points.
Look at this. 2 guys in a boat, about to land on the south of Millie Island. Their other 2 teammates aren't even on the minimap yet. The other 2 players are nowhere to be found. They're in Primorsk, I believe, still. So I'm not sure what's going on with Kyrgyzstan, but I think we're about to find out, because the blue is closing on in. We're about to go into stage 2. Circle has popped. And it's definitely not on the Ferry PSI of things. That's what we can tell for now. A lot of teams will have to make rotations. A lot of teams on the north will feel the pressure more now. The circle is doing more damage and has determined more where it will end up. It's square on the Millie Islands as well. You can see Pakistan might just commit for the nursery here. Maybe they're looking to get a little deeper. But wherever they do make landfall, they're in one of the good spots in this zone. They're not the team that has to worry, like half of our team's still in the blue here, Felix.
Pakistan. It's been way too quiet around that lineup. It's been way too quiet around that country. It's such a strong PUBG Mobile country as well. Such strong players too. I mean, their representatives right now, they've not been picked without reason. And I'm expecting so much more from them to come in the following games, today and tomorrow. And then that's done already, but it's still a lot of chances. I know it sounds like it's not much, but we're not even halfway there. You know, we're slowly approaching the halfway line, but we're not there yet. So still, it's anyone's game. And Pakistan, one of the teams that hasn't necessarily been my favorites, but they have been one of the underdog teams that I could very well see like explode at some point as well.
The dark horse teams, right? That we hope to make it spicy. There it is, the circle we talked about, square center on the Mili Island. Pakistan and Indonesia, or Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, excuse me, on the northwest, still not in. Kyrgyzstan seems to have finally grouped on the south now, but they do have a team right next to them. It's Brazil waiting for them, lying in wait with the DBS, but he doesn't win out the battle at first. Can the trade come on through? Serich is doing so much damage already. Serich might find the third. What?
Oh, wow!
What? You're not supposed to win that!
You're not supposed to at all. Brazil is being taken down one by one.
How?
And it's all because of one single player. Kyrgyzstan salvaging as much as they can. 3 points just like that being grabbed as a result. And what have we just witnessed? That is one of the most absurd ones. 3 times in a row that we've seen at ISF competitions. That's nuts.
What
And
happened
that's
there?
direct competition yet again. That is the exact same thing we've seen last game.
Yeah.
Right below the bridge, Brazil was trying to find a footing in phase, I believe it was 8, maybe 7 or 8, so very late in the game. And Kyrgyzstan just chimes in, springs the trap, and takes on every single one without
That is
any problem
massive.
whatsoever. This time around, it's been way tougher.
That is massive. Now, the res finally come on through. Remember, he was there completely alone, so not an easy one to get. And as Egypt is knocking on the door, trying to make things tough from the back lines. But it's looking like Kyrgyzstan has got a handle on it. Saudi Arabia, completely different story, right? This is as PUBG as it gets. They're playing different games. They're not even in the same part of the map. Easy runs one over. The IPL comes on in.
Wow.
And they're looking to close this out. Do they know about the solo and the compound though? No, it doesn't look like an instant knock. To get the confirm, that's not the vault, Rendy. Oh no, it's falling apart for Indonesia, and just like that, Saudi Arabia, the hometown champions, they pick it up and they send Indonesia back to the lobby. Not in a good zone position, Felix, but at least they've gotten themselves 5 points already.
They're all in the blue zone, but the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has now picked up 5 eliminations. Takes the leading spot in round number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, here at the ISF World Esports Championship. Match number 2, obviously. They still have a chance, though. Right? Yes, we said they're not in the best position, but they can relatively easily drive across the west-hand side. They should be able to scout this as well. They just got to make it a little bit faster than they are right now, because their play zone is starting to hurt. They should have enough medic to make that trip. That's the good news about this. And in the meanwhile, Mongolia are still trying to make their way in as well. Bulgaria, in the meanwhile, has been eliminated. I'm saying they've taken the 1 spot. Mongolia has just now overtaken them yet again. 6 points. That's another fight going the way of Mongolia, but are they really going to make it back in? They're surely going to lose players here.
Not looking pretty for Kyrgyzstan either. Look at this, they're blowing up, they're trying to get it smoked out. They're trying to survive in what is a tough position on the edge of this circle. So much overview for Ukraine. You can see they're not wasting time either. They're building up the angles already. They're trying to close this out. They might have seen some of the knocks earlier. They might know that this is Kyrgyzstan, but they don't have to. They know they want frags, and they know they've got all the angles. Just don't overstep right now. There's a big angle from Old Boy. Look at the net they have spun around this. Now the pull-up's there, and they have all the information as well. They know the other two are nowhere close. Effect knock as well. It's Serich. Again, he doesn't have a whole lot of bullets, but he's done this before. Surely Ukraine doesn't fall into the same trap, Felix.
I mean, Ukraine's decision-making has just been, leagues above everyone else's. Look how they cleaned this up. This is Ukraine coming in through the southern side, taking 1, 2, 3 frags just like that, making it look easy, but it's far from easy, really. The way they've positioned themselves, the way they methodically clean out every single player step by step, no 1v1s being taken unnecessarily, and that decision-making on that fight as well is something that is absolutely superb so far. This is the only team that I have to highlight. Their decision-making so far in this tournament has been incredible. Have you ever seen Ukraine in an unnecessary fight in any of the first phases? No. If they don't need to take a fight, they don't. If they see the opportunity to take advantageous fights, they don't shy away from it. Just like that, it's a fight that doesn't only give you eliminations and you have the advantage on them, but also gives you lots of space and breathing room on that southern side. And this is something that's very important on the military side. Otherwise, you will be forced into positions that you just don't want to play or have a lot of survivability from anyways. But yeah, Ukraine, I mean, once again, hats off to them. Absolutely clean. Still far from over, though. You can see Egypt is down there. Turkey is making their way in. Mongolia is going to come sometime soon if they don't die to the blue zone. So yeah, it's still a lot of competition, but that's the first step.
I 100% agree. Decision making is on point. Now they spot a weak solo, right? They see that that Moroccan player is completely by himself, and they instantly close that out too, no doubt in their mind. As Egypt trying to spin a similar net on the other side of the circle. Now Myanmar, though, they've had enough of sitting around. They've had enough of waiting. They find Havlik, and they want to close this as well. Aggression coming out on all sides of the map. And that's a confirm with the mini from range. That's putting Ukraine in a disadvantage when you just look at the numbers here. Can Myanmar do it? Can they take out the favorites? Can they take out the leaders here? But it's looking like Ukraine is not even sticking around for it. Old Boy knocked as well. Myanmar has woken up and chosen violence today.
And, well, that choice seemed to be working out perfectly. Myanmar, I mean, what kind of storyline would that be if they get enough dinner today?
They'd be right up there.
They'd be right back up there, yes indeed. Saudi Arabia as well. They need a dinner sometime soon too. If they want to have a chance at this tournament, which I still very much think they have. I mean, Easy had one hell of a performance yesterday. We saw him in the interview as well. I mean, he's deservingly been up there on the stage. If they can close out a couple of more games too, that'd be one hell of a storyline as well. I have to wait. Making up to this point is tough, but has been perfect. But the rest of it is obviously going to remain tough. So many different angles, so many different teams opting for that southern side. It's just going to make it really hard to get any kind of playing room in there. As soon as these open spots in the military base are taken, it's like almost impossible to get anything done.
How respected. Alright, Slonic trying to hide on out in the car. But Egypt is a team, like you said, right, it's hard to get any of the space on the south. Egypt is a team that's been the reason for that as well. They've spun a bit of a net around Kyrgyzstan. Remember, they get a knock and a flush onto North, and that's what pushes Kyrgyzstan into the open arms of Ukraine, right? That's what ruins their game. Now they've got more players coming at them, but they're ready with the shots. Is Arthur, and again, 1-2, thank you. 2 more elims connected, and another team right in their vicinity that now has nothing to stand in the way of Egypt. They're looking good right now. They also are picking things up from the aggression, trying to draw a little bit from the gameplay they've been exercising yesterday. And they're looking so much better today. They have to make a transition across the road here at some point, but they've weakened so many teams around them. It should be easily possible. They've taken a lot of control. They should have enough space to make it across.
Erangel being eliminated. That's gonna bring joy to the faces, to the devices, to the phones of everyone that is somewhere around that top of the leaderboard. Turkey is one of them. Solas being taken out as well, though. It's going to bring it back towards Myanmar and Egypt potentially to grab a big chunk of points and maybe get close to it, because a lot of the rest of the favorites are essentially out of it. This is kind of the opposite of what we saw last round, right? Brazil is out, we have Indonesia, we have Kyrgyzstan, Ukraine, and we almost have Turkey being eliminated as well.
Ketch is doing something though in the kill feed. Ketch is making this hard. He's gotten a second knock and a flush, a confirm on Myanmar. Out of the 3v1 that he was in, he's holding on for life right now, trying to keep Turkey in this and making it very, very hard for the Myanmar squad. Chile has been the team that's getting torn apart from all kinds of angles here, not surviving at all on the plains area, and there is the approach from Egypt, taking the space they want. But look at this. Myanmar is just bleeding players from all sides here.
Couple of long-range shots. Couple of long-range shots that don't really connect, actually. A couple of long-range shots that, unfortunately, haven't really found that target, because that would have been big. If he would have found a knock right there, it would have given him a lot of space to reposition, which is what we see right here, right? Egypt is trying to find any kind of space, any kind of breathing room to set themselves up for the scenario that's about to come, which is everyone rotating out their military base, right? And that's sometimes really, really tough to kind of find what are the best defensive positions. You never know who's really attacking which positions, right? If a player on the left-hand side gets pushed aggressively, you don't really know where to defend that from. So I'm interested to see how Egypt is going to try and figure that out, if they do at all, because everyone else still has to make their way out in the first place, and that's going to make it tough. The only team that's really got 4 players left alive is Pakistan, but the other teams are approaching right now, and I say that as soon as I do, Miracle is going to be able to take him down, DBS in hand.
If they do have to make it out, right? There is still a chance that this goes melee base as well, and then Egypt has to set themselves up for an aggressive play instead of a defensive one. So I hope they don't overcommit to either side just yet. Like you said, it's not that easy to set yourself up. You don't want to stretch yourself too thin, but you also need multiple angles. So tricky subject for Egypt, but you'd rather pick their side than be a Jordan right here, who will extremely likely have to cross that airfield very soon. Even if they don't have to come out of Millie base, they will still have to cross that entire open strip. And they'll be very happy that at least they took out one of Pakistan. Once again, that makes your approach so much easier. Do they know about the solo in their backlines though, Felix? Because that's what I'm not 100% sure about. Nobody's looking back,
No.
at least not actively. So I think there's a chance they get caught by surprise, but there's also a chance a team like Pakistan just looks over their shoulder and takes care of the problem for them.
I think Spark has not been spotted yet. I don't see anyone from Jordan really looking back. I mean, Miracle and Lath, they are scouting around, but more so towards the west hand side and like the east hand side. No one's really looking north. So Spark might get himself an opportunity to take down one of the players. If he'd be able to take down more than one, I'd be surprised because of the way they're positioned. But yeah, okay, never mind me. So Clever has got a pretty good angle. It's just really tough to spot after the line. And there he goes. It's going to be picked up by Pakistan, actually. No chance for Saudi Arabia to do anything about it. And just like that, it's another team gone. Top 5. And Egypt with that next circle shift, in my opinion, still has got the massive advantage.
Yeah, that is a big shift. The circle could have still gone anywhere, but it goes so hard to the south that Jordan is not just looking at crossing the airfield, they're also wondering where to even stop. They're eyeing up Pakistan here, and I think that's probably the best bet for them. But we still have Turkey in the dip as well, trying to hold their ground, trying to make this as hard as possible, and then Egypt who really just have to not lose this game, right? This is their game to lose. They know that. They know they're setting up for it, but they don't have to react until Jordan makes it across here, and that's the first move coming out. Is it in the arms of Pakistan? It looks like it. They still have a bit of time to use this dip here, maybe fly around a little bit. They're going in though. Double setup ready from the Pakistan side. The DBS comes out, but Clever, oh, he can't connect. It's 2-for-1 trade.
It's a 1 trade, apparently. Pakistan has brought it back against Lath. So I think it's down to just the 1v1 if I see that correctly. Nades are raining in left and right and center. And Miracle actually hits one of them. I think that was a flash, unfortunately. It's not the finish just yet on Pakistan. And you can see in the distance, yeah, Clever is bleeding out. So Miracle's going to be left alive as the only player for Jordan any second now. There he goes. He's still got the chance to do something massive, though. He pulls up with the 2 down players. And that should secure him 2 more points. So I'm guessing, by the way he plays here, he knows that the last player, which is Goku, has to be somewhere in the distance. He can't be close. And by the way they're crawling, that should give him the answer to that as well. The Miramar catch goes down. That's Miramar activating. And they need to as well. They desperately need to. Any kind of point, any kind of elimination now, any kind of team wipe would give them not only the elimination point, but also obviously the placement point on top of that to get them closer to the top of the overall leaderboard. Jordan now trying to make something work with a buggy. He might just find himself almost dying to the blue zone. Miracle barely walks in. 1 shot is going to be enough. Again takes him down, and that's Egypt putting up numbers. 8 eliminations already, and I think there's more to come.
Catch though, big one. Finds the solo in their backlines, actually cleans up Myanmar. They should be able to consolidate just for the time being. But they will have to deal with the big threat of this lobby. It is Egypt from the south, cleaning up time and time again. They now know Pakistan's in front of them. They should have a very good idea that it's exactly 2 players as well, because they've seen the knock. That tells you it's at least 2. And then they've seen 2 Turkish players in the dip. They have all the information they could ever want. They have all the angles they could ever want. The question is, how do they play it out? And right now, I like...
It's going to all come down to who's going to be able to support each other against Egypt, right? If anyone wants to have a chance against Egypt, well, Egypt, that's not bound to happen. Pakistan cleans up on Egypt. They're going aggressively forward. They don't need to, but they want to anyways. Easily done as it's said. Oh, there goes another trade. I think it's a 2-1 trade so far. And suddenly, Catch is doing one more. What is happening here? He gets another flush. It's suddenly down to a 2v1. It's possible, Kovo.
And Arthur flying in like that is a big risk as well. Goes down to half HP. The nade will clean it up. Egypt, they make it look a little sketch. They make it look a little harder than it maybe could have been, but they clean it up in the end. A convincing win with a bunch of elims. That's going to bring them right back into day number 2. We just have to hope it's not the same as day number 1. We hope they have to keep this up.
And this is so interesting as well, because we said very early on when it was 9 teams left alive that all the favorites are gone.
Yeah.
And we said Turkey is going to be gone sometime soon as well. His team to stay alive that long, to make and work themselves through the military base, which is incredibly tough because the sidelines are so against you.
Yeah.
Right, you have to cross that open field, especially coming in from the northern side. That's almost impossible. They somehow still make it work, grab themselves 6 placement points and a couple of, obviously, elimination points to top that off.
Yeah.
So if anyone's a real winner of this one, except Egypt, it's got to be Turkey. But yeah, Egypt, bring it back to them, just clean from start to finish.
Exactly, that was my point as well. From start to finish, they started this game off playing it a little slower, but instantly realizing, hey, Kyrgyzstan, they're in a mega fight over here. We're gonna just